Good morning. This is Angela with a cup of tea on Monday, June 27th, 2011. And I will get this done. I'm nailing this again this time without interruption, without chimes, without door knocking, without dogs barking. Oof. Anyway, happy Monday. Glad to be here. We have a great topic for today, of course, because it's all perfect. And even though I had no idea what I was going to talk about until like 9 o'clock last night in meditation, it is a wonderful topic that came to me. So it ties together a lot of the stuff that I've spoken about in the previous webcasts, and it takes it to the next level. So if you go back to what I had quoted, the Hopi Elder statement about how with things going so crazy around us that the best thing for us to do is to let go of the shore and go with the current of the river. And also, though, we've been talking about our inner divinity, the power of our thoughts and words, the fact that we are creators and we create our own reality ourselves. Now we're going to take this to the next level. We're going to talk about the balance that we should have so that we can create and yet let go of the reins of control and trust that the universe is going to, create it for us. Because if we actually subscribe to the belief that we are all one and we are all sparks of divinity, and that we can all tap into the one and the entire universe, power of the entire universe, then we should be able to say, okay, at this part of my consciousness, this small part in this body on this planet at this time, I can tap into my higher self, I can tap into the larger consciousness and trust that it's going to happen, and trust that I'm going to know and we're going to know universally how to create that because we've created everything else. So if you think about it that way, it makes a lot of sense. One of the great books that I've read that talk about this is my book recommendation of the week, is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And it's a retelling of a Middle Eastern fable. It's very easy to read. I don't think it's more than like 100 pages, but it talks about all of these wonderful, wonderful topics in this tight little tale of the shepherd boy. And it's, like I said, it's a wonderful book. Anyway, so if you haven't read it, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. And one of the biggest messages that you see over and over again in the book is, if you want something, the universe conspires to help you get it. Basically, it does everything it can do to conspire to help you to get it. But the other message is how important it is to find your heart and to find what your heart wants versus what your mind thinks it wants. And they call that the personal legend. Sorry, I lost the word from it. They call it the personal legend. And it talks about how we all know our personal legends from when we're basically born and little, and it's beaten out of us when we're a child, because what our personal legend would be is what our soul and our heart will reach to its highest manifesto and magnificence of a symphony, and what's going to make it sing in this life when it reaches that ultimate highest and best path and end goal. And it talks about how, but we get it beaten out of us when we're kids. Like, oh, you can't do that. Oh, stop. You can't. What are you thinking about? No, you're expected to do this. You must do this. You cannot do that. And we work through all that. And when we get on this path, this spiritual journey, and we're actively trying to find our highest and best, and we're clearing out all those beliefs that we had come in because we were taught to believe them. And then we say, okay, well, I'm a creator and I can create my own reality. But I'm saying to let go of the reins. And why is that? Well, there are several reasons. Number one, now I know a lot of gurus talk about, oh, well, if you want something, you have to manifest it by being very specific. Well, yes and no. A lot of times when somebody wants something very specific and it's really, really, really specific, I ask them why they want it. And many of these things, like whether they have the $2 million home or the perfect spouse in their eyes, 2.5 kids and the white picket fence and Fido, and this kind of car and go here on vacation, I ask them why. Why are you doing this? And 9 times out of 10, it actually has to do with beliefs that they have to clear, because it all has to do with how it'll make them feel worthy, because they don't feel worthy as they are, as the perfect beings that we are at every given time, because this is how we decided to do this experience and this existence. So a lot of esoteric stuff there, but a lot of stuff that's very simple, because we forget the simplicity of our heart, and really the simplicity of the universe, which is love, translates into our heart, which is where the center of our love is. And if we listen to all those voices and those fears and beliefs and expectations, then our head drives what we want. And then guess what? We will work everything we can do to create that. And when we do create it, then we sit around and look around going, yeah, how come I don't feel the way I thought it would make me feel? How come I'm not as happy as I thought it would make me? Because usually when that happens, and I am totally guilty of this, because I've had this happen many times in my life, and work towards getting to be a certain place, a certain thing, a certain situation, and I'm like, this isn't really what I thought it was going to be, and it doesn't really make me happy. That's the thing. What we want to do is we want to be happy. We want to reach our highest and best magnificence, like I said. We want our heart and our soul to sing. And what happens is we start to compromise as we're told we can't do this, we can't do that. Well, okay, well then maybe I can do this instead. Or maybe I can compromise and I can do this instead, or have this kind of life instead. In the book, The Alchemist, they talk about that. And they say, once you start compromising, you let go of that personal legend. If you stay with that personal legend and you trust that the universe will conspire to get that for you and to get you there, it will happen. And a lot of times, and this makes a lot of sense if you think about it, we set in our heads, I want to do this, and I'm going to become this way, or I'm going to get there this way. And by doing that, we only pick one path or two paths. And a lot of times there are many other paths that we don't see, that we don't understand, that we avoid, that we don't take, that will get us maybe to our goal even faster, or even in a more pure fashion. But we limit ourselves, and we actually become self-defeating because we say we have to do this a certain way. Wow, I can't tell you how many times I've done that. And I've learned so much in the past couple of years about letting go of how to get there, and just trusting in that end result of that highest happiness. I have been shown in meditation in just many different forms what my personal legend is, and a lot of times we forget. And I guess, I want to say that I had never even consciously aspired for this, or knew what I saw to be the outcome. And it's so foreign to where I was and to where I've been, that I had a hard time accepting it, a very hard time accepting it. And it's a very different reality than even today. But as I learned with all these smaller exercises, I call them, in my life, of trusting, of learning to trust in our divinity, and learning to trust in that connection in the universe, that when I let that go, when I let the how to get there go, and I just put it out there and say, okay, I trust it's going to happen, how much that's happened and how often that's happened, that I now have gotten this firm foundation under my feet, where I can say, okay, well, all right, well, I'm trusting that it's going to happen. And even thinking about the possibility does make my heart sing. But I just am going to let it happen as it unfolds, and let whatever path takes me there, take me there. And with the most grace and ease and balance and harmony and joy, and without any trauma or drama or anything related like that. So that's the lesson that we all have to learn here, and that's my point for today. So between now and Thursday, we're going to start talking. In the future, I think we're going to have exercises where I can give you on quieting your mind and listening to your heart, and identifying whether it is your heart that's talking or not, whether it's your heart or your mind. But in the meantime, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about what makes your heart sing. And that's really what the point is. What makes your heart sing? And no matter how unrealistic it might seem to you right now, no matter how far away it seems, if you truly can identify that that's what would make your heart sing, then you can set that. You have the power. You can create anything. And you can trust that if you put it out there and you trust the universe will conspire to help you get it, then that will be the case. So on that, have a great day, and we'll talk to you Thursday. This is Angela with a Cup of Tea.